Martin Scorsese returns to the director's chair after a 4-year absence for perhaps the most anticipated movie of the year in Killers of the Flower Moon. So does this latest outing live up to his stellar collection of movies? Stay tuned to find out. The plot revolves around murders to the Osage Nation that took place in Oklahoma during the 1920s, led by William King Hale and his nephew Ernest. What was refreshing about the story is how, at least for 2/3 of the movie, it focuses the events from the perspective of the Osage. We're allowed to see how these murders affect the way in which these natives go about their daily lives, and the script from Eric Roth and Scorsese enables the audience to develop an emotional connection with these people from the get-go. At the same time, the story doesn't shy away from the people responsible for the murders that occurred. The script delves into the themes of greed and power, and how the pursuit of money in this case is fueled by hatred and a power control over the Osage. All 3 lead actors deliver Oscar-worthy performances. Starting with Leo DiCaprio as Ernest, he provides one of his best career performances. He effortlessly moves from a humble, naive man at the start of the story to an individual that is despicable and evil. DiCaprio also has this amusing upside-down frown that he maintains throughout, which I suspect is in keeping with the southern roots of his real-life counterpart. Robert De Niro is another standout here as William Hale. De Niro chews up the scenery as the character's low moral centre enables his performance to be immersed in the awful atrocities that Bill commits. Newcomer Lily Gladstone more than holds her own as Ernest's partner, Molly. She brings a humble, likeable quality to the character as she shares great chemistry with DiCaprio. However, she's able to convey strength with Molly, particularly in the scenes that she shares with the Osage, and how we're able to feel the pride she holds with her people. Now, much has been talked about the movie's epic runtime of nearly 3.5 hours. However, I feel, as is the case with a lot of media coverage nowadays, the headlines that come out of these media outlets are often said without people actually having seen the movie. And as someone who has seen it, I can confidently say that despite some pacing issues towards the beginning of the story and towards the end, I was thoroughly engrossed. Also bearing in mind, I watched this on a Friday night at the end of a working week, so the fact that the movie held my attention for as long as it did is a testament to Scorsese as a director. The editing from longtime Scorsese collaborator Thelma Schoonmaker plays a huge role into the movie's well-paced delivery. Scenes are allowed to reach their emotional peak before moving on to the next story beat, ensuring that for the most part, scenes don't outstay their welcome. The visual palette also plays its part in making this movie a joy to watch. Cinematographer Rodrigo Prieto's skillful hands behind the camera allows the movie to be filled with a lot of tension. In an era where so many movies opt for bland colour grading and plain sets, it's nice for Scorsese and Prieto to show the rest of the industry how to capture the mood of a specific time in history. Going back to Scorsese's direction, despite depicting the murders that were committed to the Osage people, he always ensures that the emotional core of the story, particularly from the perspective of the Osage, is never lost. The score from Robbie Robertson, in what turned out to unfortunately be his last movie score before he passed away this year, delivers music that I have conflicting thoughts about. While the music does serve its purpose in functioning within the confines of the movie, it doesn't flourish in the traditional sense for these types of epics, where composers often develop themes and leitmotifs for story elements and characters. Nevertheless, it's a mostly satisfactory score, albeit one that could have taken greater risks in its musical approach. So I posed the question at the start of my review of whether this movie is a worthy addition to Scorsese's catalogue of work, and the answer is mostly yes, with a couple of small issues. One of them being how the story takes a little while to get going in terms of establishing the central conflict that the Osage people go through. Granted, the story does need to cover a lot of ground in terms of establishing the location, key players involved, and so forth. However, I still feel the movie in the first act could have gotten to this conflict sooner than it did. I also feel like the third act, where the shift goes towards the court case drama between the police and Bill and Ernest, did drag a little longer than I wanted to. Overall, despite some complaints about the pacing and a soundtrack that doesn't always suit the tone of the movie, I'm going to give Killers of the Flower Moon an 8.5 out of 10. So I now hand it over to you, as I want to find out your thoughts on the movie. Did it live up to your expectations, and where would you rank this movie in Scorsese's filmography, as I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.